Welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to show you how you can turn a sound like this into an instrument in a crazy beat. Let's get into the video. This video is going to be based around a VST called Granulizer 2. So essentially what it does is it splits your samples up into small little parts, and it makes it a lot easier for you to manipulate and do different things with. So you can do this with anything you want to. I've chosen a vocal where she sings one note. It just makes it a lot easier to chop up and keep in key. To start with, I was going through presets and I found this one called Romance, which I thought was a good place to start with. After that, I dragged my sample in. You're going to make sure you want to do that afterwards, else you'll lose the preset. As you can see, there's a part of the sample that's highlighted in yellow. That's the part that's going to be looped. I thought it was a really nice smooth part that I could use to manipulate. After that, you're going to want to click loop, which is going to activate it and allow that part of the sample to be looped over and over and over again when you hold down a key. You're also going to want to click mode up here. It's going to really smooth it out for you. There's lots to play around with in this plugin, but the main ones you're going to be looking at are size, magic, smooth, and the filter as well. So I'll play it with all those turned off and you'll hear it's not exactly where we want it to be. So we're going to start with size. I'm going to bring that up all the way and you'll hear quite a big difference. My favorite part of the plugin is the magic knob. If you bring it up around halfway, it's going to really give a full sound to your sample and add to the stereo image of it. It's still not quite as smooth as I'd like, it's a bit too gritty, so I'm just going to bring the smooth knob up just over half, and it's going to really give that nice smooth sound. You can also mess around with the ADSR. I brought the release all the way down, the decay all the way down, the attack up a little bit just so it's not so sharp at the beginning, and the sustain is all the way up. The final thing I've added is this filter. It's just a low pass filter. I brought it down to just over halfway, just so it's cutting out those really high frequencies and it's getting a nice smooth pad sound. In terms of effects, I've added a shaper box, quite a high mix, and just let it pulse in and out. EQ, I've cut the lows and some mids out. Vintage verb, very light, just to, make it a bit more full. And a compressor, because it was kind of peaking a bit too much. So I was really just experimenting with this VST and I wanted to see what it sounded like if I threw a perc loop in there. So this is the original perc loop. I threw that into the granulizer with the come down preset. Very similar settings really, just like a cut off about halfway. The size isn't so big, there's less magic because I didn't want it as wide, and yeah, it sounds like this. I just added some delay, an EQ, and some tremolo control, which is pushing it from side to side. Again, I grabbed another vocal loop from Splice, which sounds like this.
Down, 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 through it, I'll follow you. Down, 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 through it, I'll follow you.
I threw that into the granulizer with kind of the same settings with this preset instead though, and it sounds like this. To that I added an EQ, I cut lots of the frequencies out. A vintage verb, very light. A delay, quite heavy on that. A half time, just a standard half time. And then another EQ just to cut the lows out from the half time. And it sounds like this. So those three elements together sound like this. Next, I added a bass from one of Only One's kits, just following the bass notes of the chords, very simple. Then I added a rim shot. I left a few spaces out because I filled that with a perk later on. The perk sounds like this. The main part of the bounce from this beat comes from the hi-hats. It's a hi-hat from one of Cryptic's kits, and I've really just messed around with the velocities to get a bounce that I wanted. Next, I added some more percussion just to build on the bounce of the hi-hats. Again, after that, I added another perk. And finally, my favorite part of the drums is the kick. So what I've done is sidechain the kick to the bass. It's just giving the kick a bit more room to hit. So what I've done is gone down to this little thing here, right clicked, sidechain to this track. Then you're going to want to add a fruity limiter or any kind of limiter. Click the compression section, right click here, and it will show the channel that you selected before. You can bring the threshold down, the ratio, the release, the attack, and yeah, it's just going to give you a kick a bit more space. That's today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please subscribe. We're so close to 2K. Leave a comment and let me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you in the next one.